welcome back to the 2018 Granny Square Crochet Along. Today we are making this rather lovely Pretty Petals square. Okay, so to start our Pretty Petals, I've almost finished my round 1 here. You're going to make a chain of 8, slip stitch to form a ring. Now the magic ring doesn't really work for this square because it is designed to have this open centre. So you are going to chain 1 and then make 15 single crochets into the ring, or you can make a chain and do 16 single crochet into the ring and slip stitch into your first stitch and ignore the chain, which is what I'm going to do because I don't really like working into that first chain. Okay, so it's entirely up to you, but you want at the end 16 single crochets altogether. Okay, and you're going to slip stitch into either that chain or into your first single crochet, and that makes your round 1. So for round 2 we're going to make our petals, and for each petal we are going to chain 5. And then we're going to make 2 treble crochets into the next stitch. So we are using 2 stitches for each petal. So 2 treble crochets in the next stitch, like so. Happening to my yarn today. There we go. And then chain 5 and slip stitch into the next single crochet. And there we go. There's your first petal. And here's my flower. Look at that. I love that. Okay, so we're going to put some more stitches around this petal, make it a bit bigger and a bit more solid, I guess you could say. So what we're going to do, so we finished with a slip stitch into our first chain of this chain 5, and what we're going to do now is put a slip stitch into the next chain up, and then we've got 3 chains left, so we're going to do a single crochet into the next chain and a single crochet into the chain after that, and then in the next chain we're going to do a single crochet and a half double crochet. Okay, so that's just sort of widened that now, thickened that out a bit. And then in the top, we're going to work into the front loop only of these 2 stitches here. So remember, you've got these 2 bars, each stitch has 2 bars. You only want to go into this very front part. Okay, just this very front part, and leave that back. So we're going to work into that later. So into this front loop we are going to do a double crochet, get under that loop again. Okay, so a double crochet, and then we're also going to do a treble crochet into that same loop. Don't worry if it looks like your loop's getting a bit big, it will be fine. Okay, and then into the next one we're going to do that in reverse. We're going to do, in that front loop only, just 1 loop, we're going to do a treble crochet and then a double crochet, just to give our petal some shape. And then working back down the chain, so on this side of the chains, we have that chain 5, we're going to do a half double crochet in the first one. Now these ones might be a bit trickier to work in if they've twisted, but just do your best. So a half double crochet into the first one. The first one usually is a bit tight to get into, but just persevere with that. So persevere, she says. There we go. So a half double crochet, there we go, and a single crochet into that same chain. Okay, there we go. And then into the next 2 chains we're going to do a single crochet. So just find the best place to go into it, whichever is easiest. When they turn, it's not so easy to get in there. So let's just go in there and do a single crochet. There we go. And a single crochet in the next one too. And then in the next chain, you're going to do a slip stitch. And that is where we're going to finish that petal, just like so. Okay, you can see that petal there. Okay, so we're going to do that on the next petal as well. Okay, now if you find working into the chains really difficult, if your hands aren't very good and you just don't have the dexterity to do that, if your chains have gone really small, then you could just do it into the chain space. Okay, and what you want to do for that is, I'm gonna do it now just in the chain space, but work into the chains if you can and you wish to. That is the actual pattern. Okay, but I'm just going to do it for some of you who I know maybe really struggle with getting into these small spaces and with that dexterity. What you want to do is you want to do 2 single crochets into this next chain space. If you are working into the chains, you want to start in the second chain up. So 2 single crochets, 1 in each chain or in the chain space. And then in your next chain or chain space, you're going to do a single crochet and a half double crochet. Okay, and then you're up. So this is how it looks if you do it in the actual chain space rather than the petal. Okay, I'll show you the difference when I finish this particular petal. So in the top of the treble crochet, in that front loop, you want to do a double crochet just in that front loop. You do want to keep your back loop clear to work in another round. My 2 loops have got stuck together. So I know this requires a little bit of dexterity, but sometimes we just have to try and do the best we can. Okay, let's get that again. I've just dropped it. Oh dear. Okay. No one's going to say I don't persevere with these things. Okay, and then a treble crochet in that very same loop. Okay, and then a treble crochet in the front loop of the next stitch. And a double crochet in the front loop of that same stitch. Okay, and then working down either in the first chain or in the chain space, you're going to do a half double crochet and a single crochet and 2 more single crochets. Okay, and that is what it will look like if you have worked into the chain space rather than the actual chains. There we go. Show you that there. So that's worked into the chain spaces, and this one is worked into the chains. If I can get those both in on the screen there, you can see the difference. Okay, there's not a huge difference, but there is a bit of difference. So if you find it easier to work into the chain space, then just do that. Don't struggle. So into the chains or into the chain spaces, entirely up to you. Okay, so repeat that on the next the next 6 petals, and then I will see you at the end for where to join. Okay, I have all 8 petals completed. So you just want to slip stitch into the bottom of this first petal that you worked into. Just slip stitch into there, and then this is the end of this flower actually, so you can fasten off because we need to join in a different place on the back. Okay, it's time to join our background colour and start to think about squaring this flower off. So if you turn over, you have these 2 back loops at the top of these treble crochets. Between these treble crochets and these were treble crochets and double crochets. You have these back loops because we worked in the front loop. So each petal has these 2 loops, okay? So you want to join your yarn into the first one of these 2 petals. So join it in the first one, and we're just going to basically make a chain around the back of this flower, so that we can then work our stitches into that chain on the next round. So into this loop you want to do a single crochet, and then a single crochet into the next loop, which may have gone a bit small with this one pulling. So just find that loop and work your single crochet into there. Okay, and then you're going to chain 4 and go to the next petal, and you're going to do a single crochet in each of these 2 back loops. And that's what you're going to do all the way around the back. Chain 4 and then a single crochet in each of the 2 back loops, and that's that round. So I will leave you to do these chains and single crochets, and then when you get back to the start, just do a slip stitch into your first single crochet. I'm just going to slip stitch into this chain space and now work from the right side so that these stitches all face the top of my work. Okay, so what we're going to do is a chain 3, and that counts as our first double crochet, and then we're going to do another double crochet into this chain, and then chain 3 and 2 double crochet into this chain space, and that will be our first corner. So then we're going to do a double crochet into each of the single crochets here. So 1 double crochet into each of those. And then we're going to do 4 double crochet into the chain 4 space. So 4 double crochet. My yarn going for a bit of a walk. So 4 double crochet. Okay, and then 1 in each of the single crochets. Okay, so 1 into each of the next 2 single crochets. Double crochet, this is all double crochets on this round, and then we are going to make another corner. So 2 double crochet, chain 2, chain 3 even, and then 2 more double crochet. Oops. Double crochet in each of the single crochet, and then 4 double crochet in the chain space. 1 in each of the next 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and then it's time for another corner, or is it? Let me double check, where am I? Oh my gosh, getting myself confused. So it's time for another corner, so 2 double crochet. You guys probably knew where we were, even if I didn't. Chain 3 and 2 double crochet. If only you could speak back and tell me, you know, give me some feedback. Maybe we should do a live video one day. We're getting near the end of the year. Maybe we should do some live video in December. What do you think? A live crochet along. Haha. Am I brave enough? And then I could get your feedback in real time. Okay, so I do have some mad ideas, you know, don't take me seriously on this. Okay, 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets, 4 double crochet in the next space, and 1 in each of the next 2 single crochets, and then we are on to our last corner. So 2 double crochet, chain 3, 2 double crochet, and then you've just got to finish this side now by doing 2 in your single crochet, 4 in your space, 2 in your single crochet, and then slip stitch into the top of your first chain. And there we go. Look at this beauty. I've just done my usual of popping my fingers in and squaring it up a little bit. What a beauty. So nice and square now, and looking good. Chain 1. Now, if you are happy with your chain 1 being your first stitch, then by all means just do a chain 1, but I prefer to have then a single crochet there for my actual stitch. Okay, so if I work into the right place, it would be helpful. So I just prefer to have that actual stitch there. Okay, and then we're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch, and then into our corner we're going to do 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more half double crochets. And then we're going to do a single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oops, 4 stitches. Okay, and then we're going to chain 5. And we're going to skip the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the 5th stitch we're going to do a single crochet, and into the next 3 as well. Okay, so what we've done on this side is we've done 4 single crochets, skip 4, and 4 single crochets, with a chain 5 in between. So you just have to remember these 4s, and then the chain is 5. And your corner is 2 half double crochet, chain 2, and 2 half double crochet. So I'm going to leave you to do the rest of the sides. Rewind about 2.5 minutes if you need a recap, and I'll see you back around at the beginning, and you will slip stitch into either your first stitch or your chain. So when you are on your final side of this round, you will only have 2 stitches to do at the end, okay, because you've got those last 2 already there. Okay, and then just slip stitch into that first stitch, or the chain if you were using the chain. And there we go. Lovely. Okay, so time to move on to round 7. Okay, now round 7 is a series of chains and slip stitches, so you're just going to have to count your stitches really for this one. So first of all, we've slip stitched into our first stitch or chain here, and then you just want to slip stitch into the next stitch, so the stitch that's just before your corner. Okay, so then that's the stitch just before your corner where your yarn is coming out from now. Okay, and we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to slip stitch into this chain space of our corner. So lots of slip stitching in this round. Then chain 3 and do another slip stitch into that chain space, and that just makes a sort of picot, but we're not slip stitching into itself, which we normally would do for a picot. You often would go into the first chain, but that's just making this little nodule. Okay, and then do another chain 3 and slip stitch into your first stitch on this side, so that then that matches in with the stitch at the end of the previous row. Remember that most of these squares in the round are actually symmetrical. Okay, so then what we're going to do, that's not the first, that's my corner stitch, silly me. So first stitch here we go, that's more like it. So skip your 2 corner stitches and slip stitch in your first stitch after the corner, and then chain 4, and you're going to do a slip stitch in this first chain of your chain 5. Or it could be into the chain space. Let me just double check the pattern. Okay, we are going into the first chain. If you have a job getting into that chain, just go into the chain space. That would be fine. But it just will be slightly more accurate if you actually go into that first chain. Okay, but just work around the chain space if that's easier for you. Okay, and then chain 4. And then we're going to do a slip stitch into the last chain of this chain 5. So last chain is here. It's a bit small, as chains do tend to go, but I'm going to do it. My hands are going to let me do it today. So into there and do a slip stitch. Okay, and then we are going to chain 4, and we're going to skip the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All of those, sorry, we're not going to skip the next 4. We're going to do a slip stitch in this last stitch before our corner. Do a slip stitch in there, and then we're going to chain 3, and then we're back to our corner, so we're going to do a slip stitch in that corner, chain 3, and another slip stitch in this corner, making that cute little bump there. Okay, so I'm going to take you around this next side and try not to make any mistakes, and then I'll leave you to do the last 2 sides. Okay, so we're going to finish this corner by chain 3, and then you're going to go into you're going to skip these 2 corner stitches and do a slip stitch in your first stitch after the corner. Okay, and then chain 4 and do a slip stitch in your very first chain of this chain 5. And then chain 4, and do a slip stitch in the very last chain of your chain 5. skip the next 3 stitches, and in this last one before the corner space, do a slip stitch. Did we chain 4? We didn't chain 4. I'm so sorry, guys. Let's do, where are we? Okay, we need to chain 4. My apologies there. And then do your slip stitch into that stitch. Okay, and then we're going to chain 3 and slip stitch in our corner space. Chain 3 and do another slip stitch in your corner space. Chain 3 and slip stitch into your first stitch after the corner, so ignore these 2 stitches and do a slip stitch in that stitch there. And then rewind the video 2 minutes and you can follow along for the next 2 sides. Okay, and I will see you at the end here, and we'll do our last, we'll do the slip stitch at the end together. Okay, so when you've done your last chain 4, you just want to slip stitch into the stitch that you started in. We did that slip stitch before, so just do another slip stitch into there to finish that round off. So you've basically just should have a series of chain spaces and slip stitches. Okay, so slip stitch over into this first chain 3 space. And then chain 3 to count as a double crochet, and do 2 more double crochets in that same chain space. And then you're going to do 2 double crochet in this little chain 3 space here. 2 double crochet, chain 3, and 2 more double crochet in that same chain 3 space. Okay, and then we're going to do 3 double crochet in the next space. And 4 double crochet in the next space. Four double crochet in the next space. And 4 double crochet in the next space. And then 3 in the chain 3 space, double crochets, and then in the corner chain 3 space, 2 double crochet, chain 3, and 2 double crochet. And you're going to repeat this around all the sides. So you're going to do 3 double crochet in the chain 3, 4 in each of the 3 chain 4, so 4 double crochet in each of those 3, and then you're going to do 3 in the next chain 3, and then you'll do your corner. Okay, rewind the video 2.5 minutes if you want to recap and follow along again. And here we go at the end of that round 8. Was that round 8? Yeah, at the end of round 8, there we go. I love this, it's very pretty. So this round, so join my new colour into my corner, and you probably already know what you're going to do for this round. You're going to do a single crochet into every stitch, and in your corner we're just going to do I'm going to do a chain 1 to start, and then I'm going to do a single crochet and then chain 2, and then another single crochet, and that's my corner. Single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and then I'm just going to do a single crochet into every stitch, and that is as easy as this round is. And this is going to give me this nice little pop of colour along the edge, and I needed the size, so that's all good. So I'm going to leave you to your border, should you need a border, to finish up your size. If you need it a little bit bigger, you could do half double crochet, and instead of that chain 1 and then your stitch, you could do a chain 2 and have that as your first half double crochet. Okay, I will see you at the end of this round. And here we go with the finished square. How lovely is this? I love it. And until next time, just keep hooking and don't let your tea get cold.